What's up, Silver and Black Nation? Coming up on the Silver and Black Lair, I'll be doing some Raiders draft talk. Some thoughts, some scenarios they may pop up. Then I'll turn my attention to the Kings as they clinch a playoff spot. I'll talk about their this past week's opponents. We'll do our 3 stars of the week. I'll look ahead. We'll do the standings, stats, all that good stuff. Coming up in about 45 seconds. So stay tuned for the Silver and Black Lair. Hey, what's up there, Silver and Black Nation? Welcome to the Silver and Black Lair. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. You know what day it is, right? It's Friday. Whoop, whoop. I hope everybody's doing well out there. The weekend is upon us, at least for some of us. Some of you schlubs are still at work or going to work later on. Us night shifters, it is the weekend unless you have to work the weekend. In that case, suck it. Which will be me next weekend. So, yeah, well, it is what it is. So let's kick it off here. Do a little bit of Raiders talk, some Raiders draft talk, and some scenarios that may pop up, and my thoughts of what could potentially happen. Just some thoughts about it. So this upcoming draft, the Raiders have 8 picks right now. They have the 13th pick in the first round. 44th pick in the second round, 77th in the third, 112th in the fourth, 148th in the fifth, 208th in the second, the 223rd pick in the seventh, and the 229 pick also in the seventh round. So it'd be nicer to have a few multiple, maybe like third rounders or fourth rounders. But it is what it is. So 8 picks, a bunch of needs to fill. And if we're going to be doing any sort of trading, all that stuff's going to change during draft day, especially Friday, Saturday, especially Saturday. When you start hitting your 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. I mean, especially the 5th, 6th, 7th round, it seems like you're watching the ticker go, and there's constant trades, just back and forth, and just trading picks in that round or the next round or whatever. So it's just continuously changing in those later rounds. But your first 3 rounds, possibly the fourth, you don't see too much movement without it being bigger news. So I mean, there's been a lot of talk of the Raiders trying to move up from 13 into the top 3 to try to get their franchise quarterback, their future of the franchise, whatever, what have you. But I haven't heard this really brought up at all. How are they going to do that? Especially when you have those top 3 teams in desperate need of franchise quarterbacks. You have the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots. All those teams, those 3 teams, need quarterbacks. And by all reports that we've heard, these top 3 quarterbacks are cream of the crop. They're supposed to be very good, potentially a very good career ahead of them. I say potentially because you just never know. There's busts, there's big busts, and somebody that you think is going to be fantastic, that's going to translate well into the NFL. It just doesn't happen. For whatever reason, it flops. So it's always a crapshoot anyway. You think you're getting a sure thing, but when it comes to the NFL draft, nothing is a sure thing. We can all agree on that. Jamarcus Russell. So anyway, your top 3 picks, desperate need of a franchise quarterback. So, the scenario is, by most people's thoughts are that the Raiders would have to give up their first round pick this year, first round pick next year, first round pick the year after. So 3 firsts, 3 number ones, and probably like a third or something like that in there somewhere. And that's so by most accounts, that's what the Raiders would have to give up in order to move up in the top 3, right? The only problem with that is, in my opinion, if you want to move up to number 2, you're 100% sure the Bears are taking Caleb Williams. Everybody knows that the Raiders want Jaden Daniels just for his relationship with Antonio Pierce and also his skill set. The dude was just had over 1,000 yards rushing, 4,000 yards passing, a gajillion touchdowns and all that good stuff. The dude is just a supreme athlete. And so the Bears take Caleb Williams. By all accounts, that's what we're thinking. What makes you think that Washington's willing to bounce out of there, out of that number 2 spot, even for those 3 number ones? If you find your franchise quarterback, that can change your franchise for the next 10, 12, 13, 14 years. And I just have a hard time fathoming. I don't know if that's a word or not, but if it is, there we go. If it isn't, I just made it one. Right here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, the Silver and Black Lair, making words up. There we go. I can't fathom Washington. Three first rounds. 3 next 3 years is really enticing. But if you get that guy, if that Jaden Daniels turns out to be that franchise quarterback, the next Patrick Mahomes, that's what everybody's looking for, right? The next, it used to be the next Brady or the next Manning, Peyton Manning. Now it's the next, Patrick Mahomes. If they think that Jaden Daniels is going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, why would you give that up, even for 3 first rounders? That doesn't make sense to me at all. But I haven't heard anybody really talk about that. It's just like, oh, the Raiders are going to give up a lot to go to 2. Like, who said that Washington wants to move out of 2? Even number 3. If you have a thought for some reason that Jaden Daniels is going to fall out of the top 2, he's going to go to 3. What's to say the Patriots are willing? The Patriots have seen what a franchise quarterback can do for your organization. 7 Super Bowls or whatever the hell it is, 6 Super Bowls. They went to 8, 1, 6, or whatever it is. So they see what the importance of a franchise quarterback. So why would they give up that opportunity for 3 first round picks? Again, a potential of 3 first round busts. Like I said before, I just said it a minute ago, there is a potential of this year, every year, that your pick is going to be a bust, especially in the first round. There's always that potential that person that you pick does not live up to those high expectations, does not live up to those that potential that the powers that be have laid upon his head. But there's that chance that he does. Why would you give that up for 3 first round picks? For a chance of having 3 busts or 1 franchise quarterback, 1 guy that makes it. I don't know. I have a hard time really getting that part of trying to trade up into the top 3 where those 3 teams are in desperate need of a quarterback, a franchise quarterback. Every quarterback you want to be a franchise. I don't know why I keep saying a franchise quarterback. So looking at the draft order up until the Raiders have 13 here, you have the Bears, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Cardinals, the Chargers, the Giants, the Titans, the Falcons, the Bears again at 9. 10, you have the Jets. 11, you have Minnesota. 12, you have Denver. And 13, you have the Raiders. So the teams that we know are looking for quarterbacks, we have the Bears looking for a quarterback, the Commanders looking for a quarterback, the Patriots looking for a quarterback. Cardinals, they're set there at QB. The Chargers, of course, what you would imagine are set there, even with a new coach, and everybody's saying about Harbaugh's relationship with J.J. McCarthy. I just don't see them taking him at that point, just to be a backup. So, if we're, he's not better than Herbert. Herbert's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Herbert's not right now as we sit right now. You don't see. I don't see Herbert as a future Hall of Famer or anything like that. he's not an elite quarterback. He is just a step below right now. But again, it's only a couple years into his career, and last season a little bit of injury prone and stuff. And also his team, there are some injuries there on the offensive side. If they get it figured out, Coach Harbaugh is able to turn that franchise around, then we can start looking at Justin Herbert as a potential future Hall of Famer. Giants, do they need a quarterback? They just re-signed Danny Dimes. Was it last season? To a big contract. It was looking like garbage. Then he gets hurt. Do they go out there and look for a quarterback? I'm not really sure. They have a bunch of other needs. I see them going offensive tackle or somewhere in the offensive line. Personally, they need a lot of help there. They need a lot of help, a bunch of places. But I could see them going offensive line with their first pick. The Titans, they don't need a quarterback. They drafted a quarterback last year. Atlanta, quarterback. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what Atlanta is going to do at quarterback. They just traded for what's his name? I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head. It's going to kill me. I got a couple comments here, so I give myself a chance to think. Cowboy Dave checking in. What's going on, Cowboy Dave? Dave's on multiple shows here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. He does the Atomic Drop with myself, Eddie Prather, and the newly podcast minted Adam Glenn. Saturday nights at 10 p.m., the Atomic Drop, talking WWE. He also does Extra Innings, baseball, MLB baseball, on Tuesday nights. And he also does Dem 215 Boys, Cowboys Talk, not Cowboy, Cowboys Talk on Wednesday nights. Thanks for checking in, Dave. And thank you for commenting. He says, do the Raiders want Dak? No, the Raiders do not want Dak. They do have the money to pay for Dak right now, but I just don't see them. I mean, Dak is a really good quarterback. He is a really good quarterback. He does choke or whatever you want to say about him. You're a Cowboy fan. You have every right to be angry about Dak and the way he has performed. But as an outsider, not a Cowboy fan, I see Dak. I'm like, the dude is a very good quarterback, like 90% of the time. But there's that 10% of the time inopportune, moments where he's not. Kind of like Tony Romo. Tony Romo was a fantastic quarterback. About 90, 95% of the time. Then there's those small percentages, very inopportune moments when they are not a very good quarterback. So Dave helped me out there with the old who's the quarterback of the Falcons. The Falcons, it's the Kirk Cousins. Yes, I couldn't remember that. I knew they picked up a quarterback, a pretty big name. And he's a big-time – Kirk Cousins is a big-time quarterback, produces every year. The only issue with him is he's coming off an Achilles injury. What does he look like this season? Will he be ready for the beginning of the season? I know the Achilles injury, when you tear your Achilles, there's always a lot of questions about if they're going to be the same player when they return. Now, being a quarterback, you're not constantly like a running back or a wide receiver, an offensive lineman. The push, the drive. It's not a whole lot of that for you. Not a huge amount of running. You're not running routes every play, but you are doing drop steps. You're doing 3, 5, 7 step drop backs and rolling out and taking off. So there is something to it, but we'll see what Kirk Cousins looks like this year, injury or not. So the Falcons, quarterback, we'll see maybe. The Bears, of course, number 1 pick that we figure they're going to go quarterback. At number 9, not sure what they do. Do they trade back a little bit to get more picks? Not really sure because they do have a lot of needs. The New York Jets, are they going to need a quarterback? Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. Did they release Zach Wilson? No, that was. I might be thinking of Mac. What's his name? Mac Wilson, or is it Mac Wilson from New England? But they have Aaron Rodgers up there in age. I don't know about coming off an Achilles injury. How long is he going to be there? 1, 2 years? So are they in for a quarterback potentially? Minnesota, Kirk Cousins is now in Atlanta. I assume that Minnesota's probably in for a quarterback as well. Denver just got rid of Russell Wilson. They're in for a quarterback. So there's quite a few spots in front of us. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. I'd say 5 definite teams in front of us right now that are looking for a quarterback. And then another 1, 2, 3 potentials, maybes. So I mean, that's a lot of teams looking for quarterbacks, and and again, those top 3 spots, I just cannot fathom the Raiders being able to trade in those top 3. I just, it doesn't make sense to me. If I'm those 3 teams, why you would trade away your potential franchise quarterback for the next 3 years of first round picks, not knowing what that's going to look like, quarterback wise. And I don't know. It seems to be a lot to risk. The risk reward is tough for me to kind of calculate or understand there with that. So, I mean, like if you're the number 1 pick, if you have the number 1 pick and, there's a coveted offensive tackle, I'd understand trading out of that number 1 pick, for 3 number 1s or whatever, or, it would be a wide receiver or a defensive tackle or something like that. I could understand that, trade out of that spot, number 1 or number 2 or 3, to get 3 first round picks for the next 3 years. I can understand that because there's a potential that you can find that top quarterback or whatever. But if this draft has a top quarterback, a franchise quarterback, a Patrick Mahomes type guy, I just can't imagine trying to trading out of that. It has to be an absolute crazy deal, and I don't know what the Raiders what else they could package into it that make it more enticing. For me, there's 2 guys in that roster that are untradeable. Of course, Max Crosby, and then to me, in my opinion, Devontae Adams. Now, there's quite a few people out there, speculating, Devontae trade and stuff like that. I just don't see it. I think he's untouchable. He's one of the best wide receivers in the league. And why would you go out and get a franchise quarterback and not have a supreme weapon for him? You look to give him all sorts of help and ammunition to really make it easier for him to transition into the NFL. So it wouldn't make much sense to me to trade away Devontae Adams. Just get a quarterback, then he doesn't have a top flight wide receiver. So a lot of questions. And then if you look behind the Raiders, I'll just read off the rest of the draft order before I do a couple comments. 14, you have the Saints. 15, the Colts. 16, the Sea Chickens. And they could be in the market for a quarterback. Geno, is he the answer? I not long term. I don't think so. Jags. Who knows what they're going to do there? I think Sunshine, their quarterback. I believe I'm really bad with names. I'm very bad with names, remembering names. I could see him, but I can't remember his name. Sunshine. We'll call him Sunshine now. I think he's in the last year of his deal. I could be wrong, but I think he's in the last year of his deal. Cincinnati, they don't need a quarterback. Rams, there's a potential with the Rams. He's up there in age. Fix his name. I'm struggling right now with names. I am really struggling. Pittsburgh, they don't need a quarterback. They're good there. After all the trades they just did this offseason with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I remember those names. I remember them. Miami, they don't need a quarterback with Tua. Philly, they're good at QB with Hurts. I think you have Minnesota at 23, Dallas at 24, Green Bay at 25, Tampa Bay at 26, Arizona 27, Bills at 28, the Lions at 29. Matthew Stafford. There it is. I remember, man. Now I remembered it. I said the Lions. I remember Matthew Stafford. That's the quarterback for the Rams. He's up there in age. I don't see him being there much longer, playing much longer, maybe another year or 2, and that's it. So, are they potentially in for a quarterback? They do have some glaring needs though this year. They did finish the season off strong last season though. 30 Baltimore, 31 49ers, and 32 the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's your your first round top 32 there. So let me hit a couple comments here before I move on. Kirk Cousins, he says, Cowboy Dave says, let me talk to you. Yeah. A little bit of LA night there. Eileen checking in. What's up, Eileen? She says, hello, Mr. Bat Fry. Hello, Eileen. It's Friday. Dave says, Sam Darnold is in Minnesota. They still need a quarterback. Sam Darnold is not. He's already proven that he's not a starting, true, franchise-changing type quarterback that everybody wants. That is not Sam Darnold. A backup quarterback, yes. A starter to hold a place, a bridge starter. If you need somebody to start to kind of bridge into the to the next guy to take over that number one spot, perhaps. But Sam Darnold is not the answer in Minnesota. So I'd imagine they're still looking for a quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, is in Jacksonville. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. I could picture him. That's why I went to Sunshine right away, but I couldn't think of his name. I'm really bad at names. Oh, Lord. So a couple of things that I think the Raiders could do. But before I get to that, there was some reports going around that Mark Davis gave his full blessing to Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce to do what it takes to go up and get their quarterback, just as long as that makes sense. That's kind of how Mark Davis operates. There's a reason why he hires a GM, and stuff like that, and of course the coach. He's said it in the past. He doesn't have the football mind like his dad did. He doesn't have the football mind like these football guys do. So why not get football guys in football spots to make football moves? So as long as it makes sense to him, makes sense to them, he's all for it. So that's not really anything new, really. He said it years ago. Actually, when he first took over the franchise, he said he doesn't have the football mind his dad does, so he needs to get people in those spots that do. So that's when his dad was the owner, his dad was the GM, and he did a hell of a year for many, many seasons. But then the last handful of seasons that he was still on this earth as the GM of the Raiders, maybe not so much. Kind of lost touch a little bit. Really could have used the GM back then. But since Mark has taken over, he's had a GM. GM lasts a couple of years and you get fired, but he still had a GM. So it's all right. So potential moves that I think the Raiders could do if they want to move out of the 13 spot. So for me, looking at this top 13, where could they potentially move to get a quarterback that they would deem a franchise quarterback? I don't think they're going to get in the top 3. If they do, I'd be really surprised because I think those top 3, maybe 3. I don't know how sold people are on Drake May because you don't hear much about Drake May. You hear a lot about Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. But I don't hear a lot about Drake May. I just keep hearing that he's going to go to New England. So that tells me that a lot of people think he's the third best quarterback. So maybe potentially 3. The Patriots moved down to 13, hoping that maybe a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix, or even a JJ McCarthy falls to 13. Potentially there. That could be something. But looking at maybe the Cardinals moving up to the 4 spot. If the Raiders are, let's say that the Drake May goes to 3, Jaden Daniels goes to 2, Caleb Williams goes 1. Do they think highly of JJ McCarthy? Do they think, well, hey, let's go up and get JJ, at number 4, just so that, if they think, for a second that, perhaps the Chargers are going to go after him, for whatever reason, maybe get in front of him there, or even those first 3 picks come off, and for whatever reason, Jaden McDaniels doesn't get picked by the Commanders. For some reason, maybe the Bears take Caleb Williams, the Commanders take J.J. McCarthy, the Patriots take Derek May, and then you still have Jaden Daniels on the board. I could see the Raiders definitely trading up to 4 for that. And giving up 3 first-round picks, and that would make more sense to me. The Cardinals do have 2 first-round picks already, so they have plenty of ammunition in that first round to do what they want, moving up, moving back, doing whatever. So that's a spot there that you could eye up, especially if Jaden Daniels does not get picked at 2 or 1 or 2, or even 3 for that matter. Who knows? Or so Jaden Daniels gets picked. That's the quarterback that they want. They feel that their next best option at quarterback is Michael Penix. They feel like he's going to drop back. So maybe they stand pat at 13 and go offensive tackle or cornerback. I think offensive tackle, to be honest with you. I think the Raiders stand pat at 13. I think they go offensive tackle at 13. I'm not going to tell you who. When I do my mock draft next week, I'll tell you. I'll put out there my round by round picks and see how they come out. I'm not going to do trades or nothing like that. Because it's just going to get too murky, too muddy. I'm just going to go straight up picks. 13, 44, 77, 112, 148, 208, and 223 and 229. That'll be next week's show. But I do think they're going to go offensive tackle at 13. So do they think, okay, there's a chance that Penix drops back, or there's even been reports now that there's a potential Bo Nix dropping to the late first round, possibly second round. Do they take that chance? Wait, and if they're still there at the second round on Friday, try to trade up to the front of the second round to get one of those guys? Kind of like Michael Mayer last year, right? Michael Mayer, was a projected first round pick. For some reason, fell out of the first round. The Raiders were able to trade up to pick number 33, I think it was, to get him. Is that what they do this year with these quarterbacks? If for some reason Penix and Bo Nix drop back, there's potential. Or if they make it to, for some reason the pick, I don't know, let's just say 18, Cincinnati. If they have, those quarterbacks, Bo Nix and Michael Penix are still on the board at 17 or 18. The Raiders try to trade, maybe next year's first round and some picks this year to move back up into the first round, to get their guy. Because if I think if Michael Penix is still on the board, I wouldn't be shocked after 13. I wouldn't be shocked to see Minnesota go ahead and try to grab him. So I did hear that they were interested in him. They do have 2 picks in the first round, number 11 and number 23. So they're a major player in that market as well. Cowboy Dave checking in again, saying, got to run. Take care, big man. Have a great show. Thanks for letting me talk to you. Yeah. Have a good one, Dave. All right. Back to the good stuff. So that's another thing that we I could see happening. Or they just don't draft a quarterback. Maybe get somebody later in the draft. You keep hearing about Spencer Rattler, and there's other quarterbacks as well that are going to be in this draft besides those top 4 or 5 guys that everybody's talking about. So is there something there that you drop back and go from there, like kind of like a low risk, high reward kind of thing? Like if you pick a quarterback up in the 4th round and he's a clunker, it's not a big deal. It's just a 4th round pick. You move on from it. If you'll get a quarterback in the 4th round and he turns out to be fantastic, that's a win. That's a big win because it was a 4th round pick. Ideally, you'd like to get him in the 1st round because I'm pretty sure the way it works is you get 5 years of control as the team. So I think anything after that is it's. I don't know if it goes to 4 years in the 2nd round, and then less each round after that. I'm not really sure how it works, but I'm pretty sure the 1st round you get 5 years control. which is pretty important. Kind of save a little bit, kind of build a team around your franchise quarterback there for those 5 years, and really go for the Super Bowl before they're looking for their $10 gajillion because they need to feed their family, and 100 million is not enough. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on the Raiders and the draft right now. What potential stuff that could happen. It doesn't make I have a hard time seeing them moving up to the top 3, but I could see them moving up into the top 5, especially if some things happen. Some guys fall. Jaden Daniels falls a little bit, so there is the possibility of that. I could see them moving back a little bit, trying to get more draft capital. If they feel like that the quarterback that they're looking for, Michael Penix, is still going to be there, midway through the round, maybe 6-7 spots back, and they could trade back and swap picks, first round picks with somebody, and then maybe get a third out of it or a fourth out of it. I think that's a win right there. Or even, like I said, if those guys are going to drop to the second round, potentially the Raiders trade up into the early part of the second round and go after that quarterback there after drafting an offensive lineman or somebody like that at 13. All right. So that's what I have for the Raiders today. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the LA Kings now and talk about the playoff-bound LA Kings. Fantastic stuff. Go ahead and switch the color scheme here because that's who I am and that's what I care about. There we go. All right, so let's start off from the games from last week. Move a little bit closer here so I can read my notes. I missed this game. I wasn't able to watch this game. I did read the recap on it and watch the highlights. I was watching WrestleMania. Then I was doing the Atomic Drop podcast afterwards, and we were on until I think it was like 2 a.m. So the game was long over after that. So Saturday, the Kings went to the Western Division or the Pacific Division leading Vancouver Canucks, and they've done very well against the Canucks this season. Very well. I think they're 3-0-1 against the Canucks or 3-1. They've done very well against the Canucks. So they got the win Saturday against Vancouver, 6-3. First period, you had Adrian Kempe scoring his 26th goal of the season, a power play goal, assisted by Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty. Then also in the first period, Doughty scores his 15th of the season. That was also a power play goal, assisted by Victor Arvidsson and Adrian Kempe. And then for the Canucks in the first period, Brock Besser, he scored his 39th of the season. Brock Besser, I'm sorry. He scored his 39th of the season. That made it 2-1 after one. In the second period, Alex Laferriere scored his 12th goal of the season, assisted by Jordan Spence and Kevin Fiala. And then Kevin Fiala scores his 27th of the season, assisted by Anze Kopitar and Mikey Anderson. After two, it was 4-1 LA. Then we go to the third. The Canucks kind of put on a little bit of a mini charge there. Dakota Johnson gets him on the board in the third, the 16th of the season, making a 4-2. Then Trevor Moore scores his 30th of the season, assisted by a returning Philip Denault off the injury list. So it's good to see him back. That made it 5-2. And then Teddy Bluger for the Canucks scored his 6th of the season, a shorthand goal. That made it 5-3. And then Adrian Kempe scores his own shorthanded goal, his 27th of the season, his second of the game. And that made it the final 6-3. Nice offensive output for the Kings. Great job. And I know it pisses Vancouver off because they hate playing against the Kings. They hate playing against that 1-3-1. They were bitching and moaning about it last time we were up in Vancouver and we beat them up there. The waterworks were on. The tears were flowing after that game. If you like boring hockey, then watch the Kings. So funny. Cam Talbot was in between the pipes for that game. He stopped 39 out of 42 shots. I think that's a season high amount of shots that he faced. I think that might have been a season high saves as well. I could be wrong. For a .929 save percentage, Shots went to Vancouver, 42-29. That's a lot of shots to give up, but Talbot did a great job, and the Kings also did a good job stifling any kind of rebounds and really getting in lanes and stuff, and not really allowing too many second chances or any kind of like difficult cross ice pass chances. Hits went to Vancouver, 33-17. Faceoffs went to LA, 28-26. Power play, LA was 2 for 4. And on the penalty kill, the Kings were 100%, 3 for 3, so that's good there. Block shots. This is a big one here. Block shots for LA. LA won that one, 22-5. Huge there. Not only the fact that they had 22 block shots, but Vancouver only had 5 block shots. That's a huge disparity. A lot of open lanes, a lot of good looks, a lot of screens and stuff. And Vancouver just wasn't getting in front of them. They weren't getting the sticks out there. So that's a nice recipe to winning there. Blocking shots and getting your shots in the lanes. Got a couple comments here. We got Sully. Check it in. Good morning, Joe. You can check Joe out on the Sully Squad on Mondays. And then on Tuesdays on Extra Innings with, like I said earlier, with Cowboy Dave, talking Major League Baseball. And he also asks, can the Kings make a run? They can. And I think a lot of it hedges on who they play in the first round. So the way it sits right now, and I'll talk about it again a little bit later when I do the standings and the playoff matchups as it sits right now. But the way it sits right now, you have Edmonton at 2, Kings at 3. Of course, as a Kings fan, talking to Kings fans, we all know what the Oilers have done to us the past 2 years in the first round. 2 years ago, went 7 games, they knocked us out. Last year, 6 games, they knocked us out in the first round. This year, I think the season series might have been split this season. But it's just, the wins that we did have didn't feel great. The losses that we took against them really hurt. So if we're playing the Oilers, as a Kings fan, you don't go in that very confident. If for some reason, which I do think can happen, the Oilers overtake the Canucks, and the Canucks drop to the 2 seed in the Pacific, and then it's a Kings-Canucks series, I do like the Kings' chances of getting that series win against the Canucks. Just because they owned them this year in the regular season. 3-0-1 against the Canucks in the regular season. And we're in their heads. We're living rent-free right now in their heads. And it's a good place to be. It's very warm. It's cozy in their head. And so if they can get that first round series win, get a little bit of momentum going, who knows where it can go from there. Once you see who they play in the second round and so on and so on. My favorites out of the West, of course, I think the number one favorite out of the West for me would be Dallas, then go Edmonton, and Colorado. Those are my top 3 teams in the West who I think have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. But like I said, I say this so many different times since I've been doing podcasts and we start talking about playoffs. Your main goal, no matter how you get there, whether it's wild card or whatever, winning a division or whatever, it's getting to the tournament, getting to the show, getting to the second season, whatever you want to call it, postseason, second season, the tournament, getting there. Everybody starts off fresh. Everybody's 0-0. Anything can happen. The Kings won the first Stanley Cup as an 8 seed. So you don't know. Anything can happen. You get yourself a hot goalie, 1 or 2 hot scorers. You just never know. The Kings have a good enough defense to do it. Cam Talbot has played, very, very good this season. Did slump in the month of January. Everybody on the Kings slumped in the month of January. Came back strong after Jim Hiller took over after the All-Star break. He's been a different goalie since then. Anze Kopitar has been scoring at a crazy rate recently. Not so much goals-wise, but just points overall. Even goals. There was a point there where he had 8 goals in 9 games. But he just continues contributing. Kevin Fiala, Adrian Kempe, both those guys are game breakers. Quentin Byfield has had a terrific season for the Kings. He's been kind of quiet goal scoring wise, but he's a huge presence in front of that net, constantly battling in front of the net and just being big, strong, and physical. Defensively, Drew Doughty, Mikey Anderson, Matt Roy, those guys have had terrific seasons defensively. So it's there's potential there. I mean, for the first two and a half months of the season, the Kings were, one of the best teams in the league. It's just they ran into January. January kicked their ass. Then after that, things kind of settled down. Now they're one of the top, since the All-Star break, they're I think like a top 7, 8 team, whatever it was I seen last. So they've not quite returned to form, but they're kind of finding themselves. Guys are getting healthy. Getting Victor Arvidsson back is huge. Philip Denault getting back in the lineup after being out for a little bit. That's huge. He's had a great season, Philly D, this year. And, we still have Carl Grundstrom. There's potential he's coming back. I'd assume probably one of these next couple games before the playoffs. So we'll see what he can do. So it's there, but, there's some pretty stiff competition. Like I said, Dallas has owned us. The Kings did okay against Colorado. And Edmonton, like I said, I think the season series was split. Excuse me. I think there was only one game we beat them 4-0. That's the first game after the All-Star break, new coaching change and stuff. But even that 4-0 win, if I remember correctly, it didn't feel like a 4-0 win. It felt like a win, but it almost felt like a 4-3 win because it just it felt like they were constantly on us, and there's a lot of great saves in that game. So yeah, there's a chance, but speaking of Joe, like I said, he does the Sully Squad, and they talk Philadelphia sports on Mondays, and that Eastern Conference, for that last wild card spot and the number 3 automatic bid out of the Metropolitan Division, man, it is tight like a tiger. Flyers, I think they're 1 point back of the final wild card spot that the Pittsburgh Penguins overtook last night after they beat the Red Wings. And the Capitals, I think, lost last night as well. They're still in the mix for that final wild card spot, as well as the Red Wings. But there's also potential for that number 3 automatic bid in the Metro Division. The Islanders currently hold. I think the Penguins are like 1 or 2 points behind them. I think the Flyers might be 4 points behind that final bid. I mean, still an opportunity. They only have 2 games to play, though. The Flyers. That's what really hurts them. I think most of those teams have a game in hand on the Flyers, but it's crowded and anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think the one thing that hurts a team like Pittsburgh is their final 3 games. I think is it Pittsburgh or the Philly? I think Philly plays. No, I think Pittsburgh plays Boston. Is it Boston, Nashville, and then the Islanders? I think to finish up. I think that's Pittsburgh's schedule and Philly's schedule. Well, let me look it up real quick. I did have it up. Philly's Flyers schedule here. Let me look it up. Bear with me here. Bear with me, everybody. Bear with me. Philadelphia. Their final schedule is the Devils and the Capitals. So, it's there. They can absolutely win those last 2 games, the Flyers, and sneak their way into that final wild card spot. Looking at the standings real quick in the East before I continue talking about the Kings this past week. Like I said, Detroit, 85 points. That final wild card spot is let me pull up wild card. That final wild card spot is at 86 points. So you have Washington 85 points, Detroit 85 points, and the Flyers 85 points. And Pittsburgh's there at that final wild card spot at 86. It is tight, man. 1 point. Like I said, the only thing that really hurts Philly is that those 3 teams have 3 games to play, and Philly has 2. So those 3 teams have a game in hand. The only thing that does help Philly is that they play the Capitals. If they can beat them, that does help. Looking at Pittsburgh's final games, Boston, Nashville, both those teams, playoff teams, and then the Islanders, who are sitting in that third automatic bid out of the Metro. And real quick, let me look. Their point total was again. The Islanders are 89, so the Penguins are 3 points behind them. And the Islanders, this is just crazy how tight it is there. And the Islanders finished up with the Rangers. That's the best team in hockey. It's point wise, Devils, and then the Penguins. So it is going to be awesome, especially in the East. The West is kind of wrapping up here. We're kind of it's all kind of jockeying for seeding right now. But the East is absolutely insane right now. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how that shakes out. So yeah, if you're a Flyers fan, be sure to check out the Soli squad there on Monday. I'm sure they'll be talking Flyers along with Philly, the Phillies and the Eagles draft and stuff like that, and also the 76ers as they're creeping up on the playoffs here. All right, so after the Kings beat Vancouver on Saturday, feeling good about themselves, 6-3, they have a chance to clinch a playoff spot against the hated Mighty Ducks out of Anaheim. And the Ducks, one of the worst teams in the league, but I feel like they always play the Kings kind of tough. The Kings, actually did have a 8 or 9 game win streak coming in against the Ducks. Last time the Ducks beat the Kings was in 2021. But with that being said, especially this season, it felt like those wins against the Ducks that we had, the first three wins against the Ducks, really gritty type win, or first two games against the Ducks, really gritty wins. I think we beat them 5-2, but I think it was closer than that. I think we got 2 goals really late. A lot of fights in that first game. I do remember that. The second game, I feel like it was 3-2 in overtime or 4-3 in overtime. The Kings won. So again, a gritty win, tough win, but we owned them. Going to Anaheim, a lot of Kings fans travel to Anaheim to see the Kings play the Ducks every year because it's so close. But they go there, and of course they lay a duck egg. They kind of, they started off good. They started off fast. They started off tough. They got that first goal. Then after that, they wilted. It was unbelievable. It's just like, it wasn't the same team. The first half of the first period to the rest of the game was not the same team, and it was a bummer. It was a letdown. You kind of start getting nervous, with St. Louis, creeping up, against, hanging around. It starts making you a little bit nervous. So looking at what happened in this game, first period, Akil Thomas gets his second goal of the season. Second goal in 3 games, I think it was, or 4 games at that point. Assisted by Trevor Lewis and Vladislav Gavrikov. So that made it 1-0. Then, like I said, it kind of went downhill from there. For the Ducks, Vetrano scored his 33 goal of the season, made it 1-1. No scoring in the second period. Then in the third period, Alex Killorn scores his 18th goal of the season. Just like 30 seconds before that, he scored a goal on the power play. And but it was disallowed. I think, what was it disallowed for? Was it offsides? I think it was offsides. But then he comes back and gets it anyway. 30 seconds later or whatever it was, as probably like 8 seconds after the power play expired. So that made it 2-1. And then Trevor Zegras scores his 5th of the season for the Ducks. That made it 3-1. And that was good night, Irene. Cam Talbot was between the pipes in that game again. Stopped 24 out of 27 with an 889 save percentage. Shots went to LA, 37-27. Hits went to Anaheim, 30-21. Faceoffs went to LA, 36-13. Power play, the Kings were 0 for 2. 3 for 3 on the penalty kill, so that's good. Block shots went to Anaheim, 14-12. So huge clunker for the Kings. They move ahead to Calgary. Now, I think it was last week, Calgary absolutely embarrassed the Kings up in Calgary. They beat the snot out of us. They embarrassed us in Calgary, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all in Calgary. And I feel like the last 2 games against the Flames were pretty bad, but the one last week, I think it was last week, was just embarrassing, very embarrassing. So do the Kings get their revenge? Do they clinch? This game was last night. So let's go ahead and look at the scoring here. First period, Kevin Fiala scores his 28th of the season, a power play goal, assisted by Anze Kopitar and Adrian Kempe. It made it 1-0. And And that was it for the first period. Again, just like the Anaheim game, first half of that first period went to the Kings. Then after that, it was all Flames. It's like it was like two different teams. Like almost at the 10-minute mark, 10-minute, 30-second mark, somewhere around there, the Kings just went into hibernation for the rest of that period. They're able to hold on for the rest of that period. The 1-0 win thanks to some pretty nice defense and some pretty decent clearing clearing by the defenses and with some good back checking and a few nice stops by Cam Talbot. So we move ahead to the second period. Kings come out refreshed and attacking. Victor Arvidsson scores his third of the season, assisted by Denault and Trevor Moore. And then Akil Thomas scores his third of the season. Was this off a deflection? I think this was off a deflection. Yeah, from Matt Roy. Akil Thomas scores his third goal in 4 or 5 games of the season, assisted by Matt Roy. Like I said, Matt Roy shot it. It was a deflection into the net. That made it 3-0 after 2, and the Kings were on cruise control until the third period. And then you have Huberdeau. He scores. You start getting a little nervous again. The 2-goal lead. Excuse me. The Kings have the 2-goal lead. It starts making a little bit nervous, but they're able to hold on. And Flames pull the goalie with about 2.5, 3.5. I think it was 3 minutes and 30 seconds, somewhere around that time period. The Flames pull the goalie, and then Victor Arvidsson scores an empty netter, his 4th of the season and 2nd of the game, assisted by Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty. And that leads to the LA win, 4-1. The Kings clinch their playoff spot. They make the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row. And good stuff. Super excited. Can't wait for the playoffs. I love playoff hockey. Like I said, once you get to the tournament, everybody's 0-0. Anything can happen, especially in hockey. Cam Talbot stopped 23 out of 24 shots for a .958 save percentage. Didn't have too many really tough saves. A few here and there. But I felt like they were never, ever really to get it close to the net, get rebounds and stuff. I thought the Kings defense did a great job clearing the puck and not allowing too many second or third chances. The one goal he did give up, I think it was Jordan Spence was defending in front of the net. I was watching the replay on it. Jordan Spence was defending in front of the net, defending Huberdeau. It seemed like he had a good position. I don't remember who shot it from the Flames. He shot it. It looked like it went between Spence's legs and hit off Huberdeau's stick, and that deflected past Cam Talbot for the goal. To be honest with you, it was a pretty neat play. It was to see it go between Jordan Spence's legs, hit that stick, and just go in a different direction was pretty neat to see. 99% of the time, you're not going to stop that at all. So you can't really blame Cam Talbot on that one, and you can't really blame Jordan Spence. He had good position. He was in the right spot. He was fighting off the attack, but the Flames player put it in a really good spot, and there it is. Bing, bang, boom. Shots went to LA, 30-23. Hits went to Calgary, 13-10. Faceoffs went to Calgary, 26-25. Power play, the Kings were 1 for 4. And the penalty kill, 1 for 1. And that 1 for 1 in the penalty kill, the Kings were 100% in the penalty kill, is absolutely huge. So last time they played the Flames in Calgary, the Flames were 3 for 6 on the power play. So that means the Kings were 3 for 6 on the penalty kill. And really, really bad. Because penalty kill has been fantastic all season. It's been great all season. It was one of our strong points. And to have Calgary just beat the crap out of us on the power play, was really rough to see. It was just like I said. Last time we played it was really embarrassing. So that penalty will come out there, not get any bad situations where we're being called for penalties, but the one that we did get called for, able to kill it. Awesome. Great job by the Kings. Overall, just not getting called for penalties. We did have Adrian Kempe get a double minor, but the lad from the Flames also got a double minor. So no harm, no foul there. I guess the harm was that you don't have Adrian Kempe on the ice for 4 minutes. That's a bummer. But the one legit power play that the Flames had, the Kings were able to kill it. The block shots were tied 14-14. I got a comment here for our boy, Sean Lazarchik. He said, God bless you, Kenny. God bless you, Jenny. I saw you sneeze. I did not sneeze. I had a cough. I have a tickle in my throat. And of course, I forgot to change the banners. See? Forgot to change the banners. God damn it. I take the time to create these banners. I forget to change them. Ugh. So the Kings clinched the playoffs. Like I said, third time in 3 years in a row. And let's see if they can make any noise. Let's see if we can get Quentin Byfield going. Maybe Pierre-Luc Dubois decides to show up this season and start scoring some goals. But anyway, let's move on to my 3 stars of the week for this past week of games. It's a tough one because there's so many guys that are deserving. Kempe, Kopitar, Fiala, Denault, Doughty, Thomas, Arvidsson, all those guys, I thought were very deserving. Even Cam Talbot to a lesser extent. But the 3 stars that I went with Victor Arvidsson as my number 3 star of the week. 2 goals, 1 assist for 3 points. It's so important having him out there, especially on the power play. So it's good seeing him scoring. Now, my number 2 star of the week, Adrian Kempe, Juice, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. And my number 1 star of the week, again, the captain, Anze Kopitar, 4 assists. That gives him 4 points, and he moves up to number 48 on the was it the all-time scoring or is it the assist? Oh man, did I write it down? I think I wrote it down. Well, that's going to bother me now. That moves him up the list to number 48 for all-time. I think it's assists. I don't remember. Damn it. But anyway, that moves him past Bobby Clark on the all-time list for points. I'm just going to say, and it's really putting him in rarefied air amongst Hall of Famers. Do I think Anze Kopitar is going to be a Hall of Famer? Yes, I do. I do think Kopitar is going to be a Hall of Famer once he's all said and done, as well as Drew Doughty and Jonathan Quick. I know he's not with the Kings anymore, but he'll be a Hall of Famer as a King as well. So moving on from our 3 stars of the week, we have our standings. I could have swore I wrote that down. It pisses me off. Anyway, so looking ahead at the standings, we have Vancouver out of the Pacific. We have Vancouver holding that 1 spot in the Pacific right now. They have 3 games to play yet. 48, 22, and 9 for 105 points. The Oilers, they have 5 games to play. They have 48 wins, 24 losses, and 5 overtime losses, 101 points. The Kings are sitting in a 3 spot right now for automatic bids. Of course, they clinched last night. They have 3 games left to play. 42 wins, 26 losses, 11 overtime losses, and 95 points. And then you have the Vegas Golden Knights still there. Right now, they are holding on to the final wild card spot. They're 4th in the Pacific with 4 games left to play. They are 42, 28, and 8 at 92 points, 3 points behind the Kings for that automatic bid. Looking at the West overall, you have Dallas sitting at the overall number 1 spot in the West. They have 2 games left to play. They're sitting there at 50, 21, and 9, 109 points. Vancouver, they're sitting second, 48, 22, 9, 105 points. Winnipeg, they have 3 games left to play. They're at 49, 24, 6, 104 points. Colorado, 4th in the West. They have 3 games left to play, 49, 24, 6, 104 points. Edmonton, 5 games left to play, 48 wins, 24 losses, 5 overtime losses, 101 points. Then you have Nashville. They've clinched a wild card spot. They have 3 games left to play, 45 wins, 29 losses, 5 overtime losses, 95 points. They're currently sitting at the number 1 wild card spot. They're tied. LA's tied with them, but LA's in the top three in the Pacific. They're 42, 26, 11, 95 points. Then you have the Vegas Golden Knights holding on to that final wild card spot right now. 4 games left to play, 42, 28, and 8 with 92 points. And you still have those St. Louis Blues hanging on by a thread. Still praying, still hoping for a miracle here. The St. Louis Blues are at 42, 32, and 5 with 3 games left to play and 89 points. So they're sitting 3 points out of the last wild card spot. They cannot afford to lose. If they lose, I think they're eliminated. So they have to keep winning and hope for some help. So if the playoffs were to start today, the way it would look, the Dallas Stars would play the Golden Knights. The Vancouver Canucks would play the Nashville Predators. The Oilers would play the Kings. And the Jets would play the Colorado Avalanche. So who do the Kings have up next? The final 3 games here. We have the Ducks on Saturday, I believe. We have the Wild. And then we have the Blackhawks to round out our season, to finish up the season. So the Ducks are sitting there at 57 points, one of the worst teams in the league. The bottom 3, I believe. The Wild, 83 points. They were fighting for a playoff spot for a while. Just recently fell out and were eliminated. And then the Blackhawks are the worst team in the league. So not a bad schedule for the Kings to kind of get healthy. Rest some of their guys, but not too much. You don't want them getting rust. And, potentially rest Cam Talbot. He's been starting a lot recently to get the Kings into the playoffs. He's your hot hand. In some people's minds anyway. I don't think you can go wrong with either guy. But I expect to see a little bit more of David Rittich coming up than Cam Talbot. I think Cam Talbot will start one more game before the season's out. I expect Rittich to start against the Ducks. I'd expect to see Talbot against the Wild, and then Rittich against the Blackhawks, and let Cam Talbot rest before the start of the playoffs. And then after that, it's going to be every game is going to be Cam Talbot, unless he's stinking up the joint. Then you'll go David Rittich. So let's move on to stats here. Looking at stats for the season stats. Leading the Kings in points, we have Adrian Kempe, 27 goals, 45 assists, 72 points. Plus minus rating at plus 14. He leads the team in assists and in points. Then you have Kevin Fiala, 28 goals, 43 assists, 71 points. He's at a plus 1 rating. Anze Kopitar, 26 goals, 44 assists, 70 points, and a plus 12. Trevor Moore leads the team in goals. He scored his 30th goal of the season this past week against the Canucks. He has 30 goals, 25 assists, 55 points, a plus 11 rating. Quentin Byfield, 19 goals, 34 assists, 53 points, plus 19 rating. Like I said, it's been, I think, 16 games since he scored a goal last. He's going to bust out. He's going to bust out in a major way. He's had some opportunities. He's been very close, just not going in for him. But I think he's going to bust out over these next 3 games, and he's going to carry that into the playoffs. Drew Doughty, 15 goals, 34 assists, 49 points, plus 13. Philippe Denault, whatever the hell you want to call him, 17 goals, 27 points, 27 assists, 44 points, plus 11. Pierre-Luc Dubois, 15 goals, 24 assists, 39 points, a negative 9 rating. And Mikey Anderson leading the team in plus minus rating. He has 2 goals, 16 points, or 16 assists, 18 points, a plus 20 rating. Your plus minus, for those that don't know, plus minus rating is when you're on the ice and your team scores a goal, it gives you a plus. When you're on the ice and your team gives up a goal, it gives you a minus. So there you go. Looking at the goalies for the season, Cam Talbot is 26, 19, and 6 with a 2.46 goals against average and a 9.16 save percentage. David Rittich, 12, 6, and 3, a 2.21 goals against average and a 9.19 save percentage. So both goalies, very comparable. David Rittich, every time, he's been in between the pipes, the whole second half of the season here. He's been fantastic, I thought. So looking at a few team stats, goals for per game, the Kings are currently ranked 15th with 3.10. Goals against per game, the Kings are fourth at 2.56. Power play percentage, the Kings are 12th at 22.5%. They've really fought for that 12th spot in the league on the power play percentage. For most of the season, they've kind of hovered around like 18th to 16th, and just recently they've been creeping up the list. So it's good to see them close to the top 10 at 12. Penalty kill, they're in second, 85%. For the majority of the season, they were one. Carolina Hurricanes are right ahead of them, I think by 1.5% maybe or something like that. Shots per game, the Kings are ninth, getting 32 shots on goal. Shots against per game, Kings are fourth, only allowing 28.2 shots per game. And face-off win percentage, the Kings are 16th at 50.4%. That needs to change. That really needs to change. If they want to have success, the one thing that really struggle with is winning face-offs, like in the offensive zone, like on a power play. Like that's one big one, a big bugaboo is they get that face-off in the offensive zone. They lose that, it gets cleared, and you're already down 20 seconds in your power play. You're bringing it up, trying to set it up. It's so important to win that draw in the offensive zone. And then even in the defensive zone, winning that draw, getting it out of there, stuff like that. We haven't been doing it. It's just been a huge struggle for us. Leading the team in playoff or face-off wins is Anze Kopitar. I think he's up in the 60 or 70%, somewhere around there. So he's done a pretty good job at that. So yeah. What else do we got? So real quick before I move on, I heard some stats last night on the Locked On Kings podcast that I wanted to share. They were talking about the difference, the Kings' difference when they were under Todd McClellan before they fired him, and now since they're under interim coach Jim Hiller. So before Hiller, before the All-Star break, the Kings were 23, 15, and 10 under McClellan, and then since Hiller's took over, they are 19, 11, and 1. Pretty good there. Overall, 41, 26, and 11. So it's Pierre-Luc Dubois, 48 games under McClellan, 10 goals, 10 assists, a -6, 16 in the plus-minus rating. Since he's under Hiller, 31 games, 5 goals, 14 assists, a +6. So, huge difference there. Not seeing the goals that we want, but still, it's a huge difference. And also Cam Talbot, before Jim Hiller, he was 14, 13, and 5 with a 9-11 save percentage. And since Hiller took over, 11, 6, and 1 with a 9-14 save percentage. Yeah, it's for me, that's pretty close, pretty much the same. So it's not much difference there. Got another comment here. We got Adam Glenn saying, "What's up? What's up, Adam?" Adam was just recently on the Atomic Drop with us this past weekend, WrestleMania weekend. Did a really good job. Go back and check those shows out. WrestleMania recap, night 1, night 2, and also the WrestleMania pre-show from Friday. All really good shows. Adam was on with us on Saturday and Sunday for the post shows. And moving forward, I do believe Adam will be on every other week or so. And also, whenever we do a post show on a premium live event, we'll have Adam on with Eddie Prather and the 4 talking heads. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do some sponsor reads because I don't have anything else to add to this. I don't think, unless I think of something before I leave. So let's kick it off with our boy Jason Fine. Jason Fine, J Fine Law Attorney, Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In New Jersey, the office is located in Cherry Hill at 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the offices are located on 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the offices are located on 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. Jason Fine, Attorney Big Al. Head on over to monkeycoltcoffee.com to get all your gourmet coffee needs. They have bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, Sumatran blend, medium roast coffee. They have a organic blend coffee called Perula Florida. Newest blend, newest flavor, golden honey agave. They're also selling barrel aged honey. And be sure to check out their swag shop. They got t-shirts, coffee mugs, tumbler cups, cold brew pitcher, K-cup adapter, and of course, don't forget that sweet, sweet Paradise rum cake. Good stuff. All that and much, much more at monkeycoltcoffee.com. And at checkout, be sure to punch in that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off your order. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off your order at monkeycoltcoffee.com. And of course, Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, all that good stuff. You can find us everywhere. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, especially on YouTube and X. Be sure to hit those likes. Share them out, repost, wherever the hell you want to call it. YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Like our channels, like our episodes and stuff like that. Really helps us out a lot. And yeah, so yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw today, don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe. Tell the neighbors about it and co-workers and family pets. Tell them all about it. Going out for the day. You're going out for the day. You're going out all day. Some people like to leave the TV on for the family dog, right? The family beagle's laying there in bed, probably chewing on your blanket or licking himself on your pillow. Go ahead, turn that TV on. Go to YouTube. Punch in out of the box sports, silver and black Lair. This will come up, right? Hit the old play button, and you have an hour and 15 minutes where the dog's not licking himself on your pillow. You can't beat that, right? So dog's happy. You're happy because your pillow's not wet, and you're wondering, why is it wet? What's it wet from? Because deep down it's from the dog licking himself on your pillow, but you're not sure. You're like 99% sure, but there's that 1% doubt. Like, oh, maybe I got a roof in the leak, or the roof's leaking or something like that. No, it's the family dog licking himself. So or even a bird. A bird in the cage, they're bored as hell, right? Turn on that TV. Go to Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. Pick an episode or whatever. Sully Squad, the Batcave. Where you'd see this again on the Batcave. The Atomic Drop, Out of the Extra Innings, them 215 boys. All sorts of shows, all good stuff. The bird wants some entertainment as well. Got a comment here. Sean Lazarchik says, "How cold is the puck hockey? The hockey puck, maybe 28 degrees. I don't know. So it's funny you kind of say that because we were talking about it. We were at the local minor league hockey team. We went to a game, the Reading Royals, a couple weeks ago. It used to be actually an LA Kings affiliate. Now it's an affiliate of the Flyers. And we were just at a game, and my son, he got a puck, and the puck is hard as shit, and it is ice cold. And I know I've heard before that they usually keep the pucks in the cooler and stuff like that because they go better on the ice when they're cold. But I don't know how cold it is. I don't know if it's below freezing or what. I have no idea. But I do know that those pucks are freezing, and they are extremely hard. And I have a newfound respect for those guys that take those to the face. I'll tell you what, man. To put your body in the way of one of those coming at you, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95 mile an hour. Holy crap. You have Al McInnes from back in the 90s, shooting that puck, 100 plus mile an hour at you. Whoo-wee. Yeah. But I don't know how cold they keep the pucks. So one more thing before I go. A couple things to look at while the season's winding down here. 3 more games to go. Stat-wise, Drew Doughty, I think, is 1 goal off of his career high in goals. I think it was 16 or 17. So I'd like to see him, try to break that. Quentin Byfield's 1 goal off of 20. I'd like to see him get to 20 and get producing goal wise again. Trevor Moore 30. He's already at 30. Great for him. Last season he had 10 goals. So now he has 30. Anze Kopitar sitting at 26. Can he get 4 more goals to get to the 30 club? Fiala's 2 away and Kempe's 3 away. I could see Fiala doing it. 3 games to go, I could see him getting 2 goals. Kempe, Kopitar, it's going to be tough. I don't know if I could see 4 goals in 3 games for Kopi. And for Juice, I don't know, 3 goals in 3 games. It's going to be tough. Another thing to look at, Kopitar has led the Kings. I think he's led them in scoring. I think, I don't know I want to say 13 years in a row. He led them in scoring or something like that. I'd like to see him overtake the scoring leagues. I think that's pretty cool. He's been in the league for 18 years, I believe. So, one of the greats, an all-time great King, probably going to go down in the history books as the greatest King of all time. I'm sure that could be opinion-based, but even stat-based, it should be pretty close. And so yeah, and also Drew Doughty, he's going to go down as an all-time King as well. I think both those guys end up in the Hall of Fame, like I said before. All right, so that's all I have for today. I'm going to get out of here, hit the sack. Be sure to check me out Saturday night, 10 p.m. Like I said, the Atomic Drop podcast, talking WWE wrestling. And then also the Batcave next Wednesday, 10 a.m. I'll be talking New York Mets baseball. And I think next week I'm gonna split the show up. I think I'm gonna go Raiders one day and Kings the next day, and maybe I'll push a time back on one of them. Maybe I'll push the Kings time back a little bit and see if that helps my viewership. Right now we're sitting at 66 live viewers. Thank you very much to all 66 of you. Don't be afraid to comment. If you're on X right now watching this, I don't think you can comment there, which it looks like most of our viewers right now are on X. So you can't comment on X. Head on over to YouTube. Throw in some live comments there, or questions, or whatever you want to talk about. I'll talk about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm game. I'm game if you're game. One last comment before I get out of here. We got Eileen. Hey, Eileen, see you tomorrow night. Yep, I'll see you tomorrow night. Talking a little bit of wrestling. Some, what's the WrestleMania fallout? We always have those huge shows on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. You get surprises and fallout, of course. So we'll be talking all that stuff. Should be a fun episode. I'm not sure if all 4 of us will be on. I'll have to get with the gang and see who's going to be on for this Saturday night. I think we'll probably try to get all 4 guys, just because it's an after WrestleMania episode. It's the first episode after WrestleMania. So usually, like I said, bigger shows on Raw and SmackDown. So why not have all 4 of us, right? All right. Sean says, Kenny, I like to talk about random stuff too. I didn't see you post out any random. Well, I guess the hockey puck was kind of random a little bit. Sean, we should get a show, me, you, and Adam on here. Call it random stuff and just talk about whatever comes to our minds. We'll sit here and talk about for a half hour, 45 minutes or whatever. That'd be a lot of fun. I'll have to talk to Paul about that one. That'd be interesting. Eileen, she needs a Sean show. He talks, the way he types, Eileen, he talks like that too. 3 guys in a pod. 3 guys in pod. I don't know. There's that one. The one podcast is 3 chicks in a pod. So I don't know. People will be confused. People will be confused it thinking they're getting 3 chicks in a pod. They'll be getting three ugly guys in a pod. And Adam Glenn says the Sook boys. He means the Skook boys because we're all from Schuylkill County. I don't know if you ever typed in Skook, Skook, in the Urban Dictionary, Adam Glenn, but you would not want to be called a Skook then. So you look it up at your own risk. It's disgusting. Sean says, great idea. He also says 2 fluffs and a skinny. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do something. Maybe not a weekly thing, or maybe we'll do something bi-weekly. Just random chit chat here. All right, so that's all I have for today. Be sure to check me out again next Friday. Like I said, I'm going to split the shows up. I think I'm going to go next Thursday and Friday. I'll put the times out when I create the streams. I want to check my schedule and see what I got going on first before I commit to anything. All right. I'll talk to everybody next week. Go Kings, go, and just win, baby.